You're listening to the Quint's podcast.
Don't let anyone judge you. Don't think about what other people say. You do you. We're all beautiful. Be confident in who you are. We've all had someone trying to inspire us with these cliches, but let's be honest. We've all compared ourselves to others. We've all felt insecure at some aspects of our bodies, and most of us have things about us that we would like to change. And I would even go as far as to say we strongly dislike. And in the age of the internet, when we're constantly bombarded with perfect bodies and endless carefully curated feeds, it can make it all the more difficult to not feel worse about yourself in comparison. I don't know about you, but all of it often makes me feel, well, not fine. Hey, what's up? How are you?
Work is so stressful, yeah.
Man, I feel like I'm wasting my youth.
I feel like I just can't sustain relationships.
Not fine. Thanks.
It's bad enough for us regular folks, but what happens when putting yourself out there for public scrutiny is a huge part of your job, and your quote unquote success rides on how people perceive you. Now, I'm no expert on how that feels, but I do have here with me someone who is much better qualified to talk about this. But first of all, let me introduce myself and this podcast. I'm Anushka, a health reporter with Quint, which is the Quint's health vertical. And this is Not Fine, Thanks, our brand new podcast series where we discuss everyday mental health that you, me, and those around us experience but don't always talk about. Over the course of this series, I'll be talking to a bunch of people about things like burnout, climate anxiety, bullying, social media addiction. You know, the things that make you want to say, not fine, thanks. So do stay tuned for those. Today, on our very first episode, I'm joined here by Sakshi Sindwani, a fashion vlogger, a social media content creator, and a vocal advocate for body positive fashion and beauty. Thank you so much for joining me, Sakshi. This is such a delight to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me. Oh my God, this introduction, by the way, has my heart. Thank you so much. You've spoken about so many things that are so relevant already. Yeah, I'm excited for this conversation and anything which revolves around, body image and conversations about body positivity or body neutrality. I'm all up for
Yeah,
it.
and I'm honestly thrilled that you're here, and I'm so excited to hear everything that you have to say. And before we get into the meat of the conversation, I'd like to get to know you a little better. So, if you could just quickly take us through your story and your journey to becoming a content creator and how you got here and the challenges you faced. Um, who is Sakshi Sindwani? Tell us.
Wow, that's like an existential question for me every day. Who is Sakshi Sindwani? I think the best way to describe myself is I'm just a chubby girl who decided to break the norms of fashion and wanted to change the fashion industry because she was sick of seeing certain body types and not feeling represented. It made her feel bad. And one day, not one day, I think it was a series of days where she kept thinking to herself, who's going to change that? And who else than yourself to change something, right? So I kind of went with a vision that I'm going to start my own online social media page. At that time, not a lot of people were doing social media, and I started on YouTube. So I used to watch a lot of international YouTubers, and I was super fascinated because finally I could see real women talking about fashion and talking about these really amazing quirky things, and they were being themselves. I think that's what attracted me the most. And India had not warmed up to the whole idea of social media and real bodies yet. And this I'm talking about in 2017, 2018. Social media really became a huge thing starting 2018, 2019, right? So, and in the lockdown, of course, we've all become extremely obsessed with the digital age and digital media. But like back in the day, I remember, let alone having a career, nobody was on social media. There were very, very few content creators on social media. Because I used to watch these international creators and I would think to myself, these are literally like my big sisters because they're making me feel good about myself, and my family and friends are not able to make me feel good about myself. These strangers on the internet who live like thousands and thousands of miles away, they're making me feel good about my body. What if I start doing the same for, our Indian audiences? And that's where the journey began. I saw myself being a storyteller. I was always born to be a video content creator, meant to be in the world of video content creation.
Right. And I just want to come back to something that you mentioned. Could you tell us a little bit more about your childhood? You mentioned you were bullied. What was that experience like for a young girl, and do you find that it has shaped the adult you in any way?
In every possible way. I was bullied in school, I was bullied at home, I was bullied everywhere I went because I was a big girl. And I was a really big girl in comparison to all my peers. You know, it was it was terrible at that time. I remember going to therapy in my school, like to the school counselor, because I felt like I had no hope, and I needed somebody to talk to who could understand what I was going through, because I was not able to release like my emotions and how I was feeling even at home, because I didn't find the comfort ground. It was terrible, but it shaped me into becoming the person I am today. I think it's given me the voice. I know, because of all of the wrong things that have happened to me, I know how to correct it, and how not to feel, and how not to make other people feel. So it would have been nice to not be bullied and not lose all of those years to self pity and self doubt and extremely low self esteem. But like, I'm also so much stronger because of it now, and I'm a much nicer person to have a conversation with, or to hang out with.
Yeah, and that's such an important point that you can't be everything to everyone, and it's impossible for you to please everyone. So you might as well focus on being content in yourself, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Right. So you've talked about representation and social media and what that has meant to you growing up. Um, and I'm sure you get this a lot, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What does body positivity mean to you, especially for the uninitiated?
See, body positivity for me is also a very fairly new concept. Growing up, we were not told about these things. I didn't even know up till, I think, 4 years back, that I actually struggled with body image issues. We didn't have enough vocabulary to actually put our feelings and our emotions into words, and there was actually like terms for it.
Yeah.
When I started, I didn't even think I was a body positive creator at all.
Right.
I was just like, I was just really frustrated that nobody with a real body type is actually pursuing fashion and making fashion videos. And I saw a gap, and I just wanted to fill that gap. I didn't go with the intention necessarily in the start that I want to become this body positive creator, and I'm still not that person. Like, I don't want to have that title at all. But it was almost a community that kind of kept saying that, you've inspired me so much, you're like our body positive guru in a way, and you're like a big sister. And being a big sister was always the intent, but like, these terms were actually given to me by the audience, by the community, and that to me has changed over the years. Now I feel like I would rather, I sync more with body neutrality than body positivity. I don't think I'm body positive every single day of my life, and I don't want to promote that. I'm not that person. I don't think anybody can be body positive every single day of their life. And I feel like, body positivity, extreme body positivity is also toxic in a way, because well, we talk about extreme happiness or extreme positivity, and that also can be a bad thing, because then you're
Yeah,
suppressing your
like
real emotions.
toxic positivity, right?
Yeah. And for me, body neutrality means that, I'm okay with how I look. I'm going to keep continue working towards the betterment of it, and I'm going to keep working towards my growth, and I'm not going to leave fitness because that's very important to me. But I'm not going to let other people's opinions and other people's judgments define how I look at myself. So that's what, like, pretty much that means for me now. And it's okay if I have a few days where I'm bloated, or I've gained weight, or if I've lost weight and I look different. And if the pictures have not come out that nice, it's okay if I'm having a bad day. It does not mean that I hate myself. I think it's very important to kind of talk to yourself in a positive way or in a neutral way, um, in order to define your relationship with yourself and also with food, also with other people. Ultimately, the relationship that you have with yourself is the biggest relationship you're ever going to have, the most important one that you're ever going to have. Make sure that that adds to you. It's not taking away from you, and then you'll be a better person to everybody else around you. So I think that's what really body neutrality means for me now.
Yeah, but this journey towards self acceptance and feeling secure in your skin is not an overnight journey, right?
Not at all.
So, for someone who struggles with this, how do you begin the journey of self acceptance? Because, I mean, we always hear people say things like be yourself or love yourself, but we all know that it isn't as simple as just saying it.
I mean, honestly, when I was younger and I would see anybody saying love yourself when I was going through, like, extreme, like, people used to bully me in school and college, and I would, like, listen to these songs, or, look at these episodes on YouTube and stuff, and people would be like, love yourself, and this is how you accept yourself. I'd be like, what bullshit? Like, what are you even talking about? That's not my reality at all.
Yeah, it's just sounds so empty, right?
Sounds so empty. And I would really recommend people to not even listen to me when I tell you that love yourself. If you don't feel love for yourself, I think it's such a journey that you have to. It's a very difficult journey, and even though people can help you ace that journey, nobody can help you start that journey. You really have to start that journey yourself. And no matter how many people, there could be 10,000 people who come to you and tell you love yourself every second day, every second of your life, and you'll still not feel a thing for yourself. So it's you have to affirm yourself, and you have to be strong enough, in your own mind and in your own body, that I'm okay with who I am, and I have to accept myself, because my happiness is so much more important than anything else. My mental health is so much more important. You have to realize, and I think there's one hack to this. Sometimes you can start pretending, like how Rihanna said, pretend girl, like pretend. You don't feel like the most confident, pretend. It's almost like when you're exuding that kind of positive energy, the negative energies tend to fade away, and I have literally seen it with myself. um, and I'll give you an example. I just like I think I was in college or something, and I thought to myself, आज मैं college में जाके I'm going to just not give a shit. Like, I'm not gonna give a flying f. So I'm gonna be me, and I'm going to do this for 1 week. Like, I'm going to wear whatever I want, and I'm going to wear exactly the fashion that I want to wear. And even though that doesn't sync with the college that I go to, and nobody else is wearing the kind of clothes that I'm wearing, and even if I'm being made fun of, I'm going to be confident. When you start pretending it, slowly and very, like, sooner than later, it sort of becomes like a natural thing in you. You started pretending, but very shortly you'll realize that you don't have to pretend anymore. It's become a normal for you. You're not pretending anymore because you are confident. You're not pretending to be confident. Now that's become your reality. And when you exude that kind of positivity, यू विल रियलाइज कि नेगेटिव कमेंट्स आने बंद हो गए हैं, बहुत ही कम हो गए हैं. एंड उसके बाद तुम्हारा इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग ऑरा क्रिएट हो जाएगा कि देन nobody's negative comments can really hurt you, because you've created this, like, almost like a shield for yourself. And I think that's the place where you want to be. I don't think self love is a destination at all. I don't think I truly love myself completely. Like, I'm not completely and utterly happy with myself 24/7 every single day of my life. I think it's such a journey, and that journey is the beauty of it, really. And I've seen myself go through multiple levels, and I keep getting better and better as to how I see myself. And believe me, once that journey starts, you will be a much happier person.
And something else that I'm very interested to get your take on, moving a little bit away from body image, is the topic of self worth and how it ties to social media. So it's just something that I've always wondered about content creators and influencers, because you guys are so close to the sun, kind of, in terms of the negative fallout of social media. Like for us, say passive consumers, we don't have to commit to it. We can take breaks from it. We can choose to step away and be as inconsistent as we like. But as content creators, especially on platforms like IG that reward consistency, and people's opinions of you turn into numbers, that turn into how successful you are. In such a situation, how do you separate your self worth or self image from external validation? Do you compare yourself to others?
I'm gonna say this like as uh, as straight as I can. It does affect you. It can be really hard. Being a content creator or being in front of the public eye is not easy. It comes with its own challenges and a set of cons. But you know what? Like, because we do this every single day of our lives, um, we get a little immune towards social media hate and trolls. I think we have no choice but to have a thick skin, so it doesn't affect us as much as it would affect a usual human being. Because I've seen on my page, if I post with a few friends and they get hate, they get so shattered, and I get that like every day of my life, and I'm not affected by it. I think it's just time, and how much, like, words, they when you hear it so much, and when you hear it so consistently, you find it amusing after a certain point of time. Like, I've done more good than bad, and I have like these thousand good comments and then there's one bad comment, so I'm affecting and inspiring those thousand women. I have to see it from that perspective. Like, the ratio doesn't add up. The hate is way too small in front of the positive response. When I get a hate comment and it's a really really bad hate comment, I sometimes message the person just for the fun of it. Like, I want to understand like why this person messaged something so nasty. And as soon as I message, they'll revert by saying, "Oh my God, Sakshi, I can't believe you replied. I'm such a huge fan." So it makes like literally no sense. And so many content creators face the same thing. I think you also have to dissociate yourself from this online persona, and you have to sort of don't take it too seriously, and don't take everything you see on social media also too seriously. There's so many filters on social media. You can't compare somebody's filtered reality to your own reality. Believe me, it's not their truth. You shouldn't compare it to your truth.
Do you compare yourself to the success of others? Like when you see models who, fit into more conventional notions of beauty doing much better than you, does that
Yeah.
impact your mental health? How do you deal with these thoughts if you have them at all?
I think I believe in competition, like a healthy competition, as opposed to comparison. I don't think I have ever given any heed to comparison in my life. And as soon as I start comparing myself, there is a beautiful option on social media which is mute. Sometimes you can't unfollow people because it, like, sometimes it's bad to like unfollow people, but like you can mute them and they wouldn't know. So I have really used and overused that option on Instagram. As soon as I find myself like comparing myself, or feeling bad about myself, because that other person got the opportunity that I didn't, then I'm like, okay, hold up, this is not the place that I want to be. And I think self awareness is very important for that. जब सेल्फ एस्टीम थोड़ा सा हर्ट होती है, तो होती है, सबकी होती है। मतलब यूर इन अ कम्पिटिटिव वर्ल्ड, सेल्फ एस्टीम कभी कभार हिट हो जाती है, जब तुम किसी और को वो सक्सेस देखते हो जो तुमने अपने लिए इन्विजन करी होती है। बट समटाइम्स यू हैव टू रिमाइंड योर सेल्फ, नहीं, एक्चुअली एवरी सिंगल टाइम यू हैव टू रिमाइंड योर सेल्फ दैट opportunities are endless. What is not meant for you will not come to you, and what is meant for you, it will come to you.
Right. So, yeah, so I bring it up because, for a lot of people, like me included, a huge part of our self image or self esteem is derived from external validation. I mean, I'm working on correcting it, but it is what it is. So, if somebody else appreciates my work, appreciates something about me, it makes me feel good about myself. I might not see it for myself, but when someone else tells me, then I believe it. So, for someone in the kind of line of work that you're in, you're constantly bombarded with instant feedback, right? In the form of comments or likes, shares, numbers going up and down, whatever. And it's both negative and positive. So, I guess what I'm asking is, to what extent does that affect your self image and how do you deal with that?
It does affect you. I'm not going to lie and say that it doesn't affect you, because it does. This is your business grows, your the opportunities are bigger once your numbers are bigger. So for me, that's more important. Like, like, it doesn't affect my self-worth per se, but it makes me, okay, I'm going to quote this. I recently saw the movie 83, and the cricketer said, Kapil said, um, he's a legend. Also, he said, like, once you taste success once, the tongue wants more. This famous, very famous dialogue by him. It's just, it's a cycle. You can't run away from it. Like, you're going to uh, like, you're gonna ask for more validation once you get, like, I remember I used to think when I was at 50K followers, I used to think, like, 100K followers पे तो मेरी life बन जाएगी, फिर 200K, फिर 300K, फिर 500K. It's endless. This cycle is really endless, and you have to be okay with it. You have to, again, disassociate yourself. uh, I want to be able to reach a bigger community, because I want to create an actual change, a wave of change in the industry. I can't do that with a small community. I have to grow bigger and bigger, because I have a voice and that needs to reach every person. um, that's my idea. But, like, whatever pace it grows, it only motivates me to do better and reinvent, different facets of myself. I have surrounded myself with people who actually keep me super humble and remind me that I cannot be affected by the numbers.
Right. So before I let you go, is there anything you would like to tell your younger self or other younger people who look up to you like a big sister, like you said?
Take it easy. Don't, like, I've said all of these things before, but, like, I'm going to reiterate it. Don't take social media too seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. Be authentic. It's the most beautiful version of yourself. Believe me, your quirks, the things that people find weird about you, are the most beautiful things about you. Even if you're not, like, fitting into the ideal notions of the society, believe me, I am not fitting into the ideal notions of society, and I'm winning awards for it. So it's all good on the other side. Trust me. Like, I'm a loud person. Apparently, loud girls are not feminine enough. Tall girls, big boned girls, I'm all of that. Like, I'm literally quite the opposite of the conventional standards of beauty. And I'm doing fine. So, the grass is also green on the other side. And you have to kind of believe that, no matter who you are and what you do or what you look like, you are still worthy to feel beautiful, to feel feminine or masculine or whatever you want to feel like. You're worthy to eat. I think that's very important. A lot of people find, like, they're not worthy to have enough food because they should look like something. Uh, you're really, really, genuinely beautiful in your own way, and you have to stop letting other people's opinions, because they're not living your life, and you're living your life, and be okay with that.
Thanks for listening, guys. Next week, I'll be back with my colleagues Ishwar and Parthvi with a topic I am sure a lot of you will relate to. We're talking all about our experiences with burnout. So do tune in.